to today's session on, again, just for the Microsoft Excel and data analysis learning community. But the topic today is on Office scripts. So Office scripts is one of those new, eh, to be sincere, it is one of that, something that Microsoft hopes to used to replace VBA. So it's very important, for anyone who wants to be future proof, you want to be your skills to be relevant into the future. So our speaker today will be Chidi, but before I introduce him, I'll just mention a few things about us, the organizers. So we are UrBizEdge. We are into training and consulting, or everything that relates to Excel, BI, specifically Power BI, financial modeling, and very interestingly, we now have a branch in Canada, MHS Analytics. So I'm going to put it in the slide. I mean, in the chat, you will see the address to it. You can. So more specifically for if you have friends in Canada or you have people who are already trying to live for Canada and they want to at least get relevant skills and some advice and the right way to hit the market running with when I say market, it's Canada running with job offers. Well, I wouldn't say job offers lining for them, but them getting more chance, better chance at getting the right job, and also those who want to skill up to deliver more value. So you can always go to mhsanalytics.com. The website is still under building, but here you get most of what we do, and you can reach us via it. And if you ring that line, I'm the one who will speak, and answer. So I'm going to now introduce our speaker. Okay, before I introduce him, just to mention that also in Nigeria, we have courses already ongoing that you can key into. So you've been joining this session, but you know that you probably need some tailored intensive course. In fact, this webinar started as a way to support our trainees, our participants. So there is a whole lot more that you get when you do our training. This is just one of those things. This webinar you're joining is originally meant for people who do our training so that they can keep improving their knowledge. So we have a whole lot that we put together to ensure that when people come for our training, it's not the 2 days, 3 days, or 4 days that we are selling to them, but the assurance that that will be the last training that we do. We keep supporting them. We give them a lot of resources, not just this one, we have an online portal. They get access to the online always updated courses. So I don't want to begin to just read out what's on this slide. I just want you to understand that Excel, Power BI, financial modeling, SQL training, reach out to us and you will get one of the best offerings you can get in Nigeria. So the speaker today is Chidi Anyanwu. I don't know why he doesn't like putting his middle name Jesse, but that was the name I first knew him by, or that stuck with me. So he is a young professional with a strong interest in finance. He's someone who is very driven and he specializes currently in Microsoft Excel, financial modeling, BI, and he's also into building things. So he's done VBA, Pinescript. Pinescript is what is used for trading view, algorithmic trading. He's also got interest in Python and DAX. So I'm going to, he's already doing his CFA level 1 and he already creates content for us at UrBizEdge. He's one of our faculty members. So I'm going to instantly right now hand over to him so that he can begin his session. And so Chidi, over to you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Michael. Really appreciate it. All right, so let me start sharing my screen now. Just one moment. All right, so the main topic I want to cover today is mainly on TypeScript. TypeScript is the programming language used in OfficeScript, and it's used to help automate tasks and make things a lot easier and more efficient. So It's a programming language used in Microsoft Office, as said, and we're going to go through understanding Office scripts while using Excel Online. We're going to go through the TypeScript syntax, which is the language. We're going to go through object model or APIs, and then we're also going to go through TypeScript resources for Office scripts. So for an introduction, for this webinar, the topic is Excel Online automation with TypeScript. This part of the webinar will focus on functions, setters, getters, and how to manipulate data using Office scripts. The following webinar will focus on using it in conjunction with Power Automate to do tasks a lot more quickly and efficiently. So first, what is Office scripts? Office scripts are a set of instructions that automate tasks in Excel. They run from start to finish without needing user input. And scripts do not need to interact with each other. So it uses a language known as TypeScript, and it's very similar to VBA, being that it's an object-oriented program and is designed to manipulate cells, sheets, and other objects in Excel. So the similarity with VBA is that JavaScript can also be used to interact with cells inside of Excel sheet. So you can use it to interact with cells, to manipulate it, change its color, or do any if or for statements. And so I think that's the main point there. So if anyone is if anyone is familiar with VBA, they should also be not they can also be comfortable using Office scripts, being that it's the same objects that you're manipulating, it's the same data that you're changing. So we're going to go into the TypeScript syntax, which is the language used in Office script. So TypeScript is a subset of the JavaScript programming language. There are similarities between the two languages, and they say it's a combination of JavaScript syntax and static typing. So it contains types assist which helps in describing variables, functions, enhancing script writing. So most programming languages have this. Whenever you whenever you hover above a variable, it tends to show you descriptions or what to do next with it. So this is the benefits. So the benefits of this auto completion used in the editor. So some functions are hard to remember with uppercase letters included in them and must be in place for the code to run. So autocomplete saves time. Once you see the function, you want to use it to simply navigate with arrows to your desired functions. So let's start. So object model or APIs. So this is created for users with little to no coding experience. So APIs is what's used to call the function, I guess. So it features a very simple object model with methods, getters, setters, and easy to manage arrays to handle collections. So we'll be going through all and each of these during the practical session of our webinar. So let's see. All right, so I'm going to simply discuss what is Office Scripts API. So the Office Scripts API automates common tasks in Excel. Through the webinar, we will build code to run through some basic tasks in Excel. Objects accessible through Office Scripts are found in the table of contents to the left of the page. So if you go up here, if you click on automate, normally you'll see developer tab there, but if you click on automate, you can see all your scripts here. And then you can also go down here to your code editor and it'll tell you the name of your script, the run and the edit as well. But as we jump into Excel Online, you'll see all this and we'll be building our code in real time. So TypeScript resources for Office scripts. So Office scripts are written in TypeScript, which is a subset of JavaScript. To write a script, you need to understand how the Office scripts APIs all fit together. So this helps in understanding the property assignment sequence. This sequence defines the order in which properties are assigned values using getters and setters. So later on, once we're going through all the getters and setters examples, you'll see that once we have an object and we want to manipulate it, we're going to use a getter or a setter. And a getter could be, let's say, get range, which is the simplest one, and it will get the range for you. And then using this, using the I'll call it the philosophy here, property assignment sequence. Once you get the range, you then must do something with said range. So you have to follow it with a full stop as well, and then complete another action. What do you want to get within that range? So you can say get range dot get value, and you're still talking about the same cell, which shows the similarities between this and VBA. So the components of a workbook have specific relations to one another. In many ways, these relations match those of the Excel UI. So now we're going to go into I'll call this the ladder of importance. And when we're using this language. So first off, the first reference we're always going to reference when we're building some code is that we're going to talk about the workbook. And in many ways, these relations match those of the Excel UI. So a workbook contains one or more worksheets. Since objects we will later manipulate resides within our workbook, then we will call it within our main function. Now, our main function is the first function we use, and this main function is what is run inside of the script. So you can have other functions within the script, but the main function is what is actually run. So you can have other functions and include it into the main function if you wanted it to run. So that's that one anyway. So the workbook, unless you're making some complicated script with other workbooks and you're trying to do something with it, simply referring to the workbook in your main function is normally the simplest thing to do. So then we have worksheet, and the worksheet gives access to cells. This is done using the worksheet, which gives access to cells. All right. So these are done using range objects. So manipulation of cells are done using getters and setters. A worksheet normally contains collections of those data objects that are present in the individual sheet. So next we'll go into range. So a range can be a set or cells or a set of cells or a cell. Ranges are used to refer to objects to further manipulate. Also can be used to generate and position data organization and visualization objects. These include charts, tables, and shapes. So gonna go next to all our getters and setters example. So these are all the functions we'll be using today. We have all our getters here. So our getters will be using to get whatever we want from a cell or a range. Then we'll use our setters to set whatever value we want for whatever we're getting. And then these are also some actions here, such as delete, calculate, resize, and so on. And we can also so this is more of these are more of getters, but this is more of getters in a plural form. So get collection actually collects everything you're referring to and will turn it into an array. Such as same thing with get tables and get comment as well. And the scalar is an address property. So this is used for finding the address of whatever you're referencing. So if you want to get the address of, get the address of let's say there's only one cell that has a value and you want to get the address of that cell. You normally use this get address with brackets afterwards in order to get the address of said range. If you want to get the address of a worksheet, you can normally use dot get position. So with this, it can be in the form of a string or a number, and it represents an address of an object. Positions of the worksheet actually comes in the form of a number. So learning this will bring you on to the next stage, which is Power Automate, giving you greater capacity to code through difficult situations. So I'm going to start now, and I'm going to start going through all these examples of how to use getters, how to use setters, and how to really bring them together in order to better understand everything. So let me just close this and I'll start 1 second. Okay, so this is Microsoft Office Online, and this is where we'll be creating our Office scripts. So Office script is a modern version of VBA, and it was actually made for Excel Online. So it'll help us also use Power Automate as well. So right here is Excel Online. As you can see, it's very similar to Excel. There's not much differences, so I won't go into it. And now we're going to go into Automate now. So Automate is where you go to create your script and start writing your code. So here, if you click on New Script, I'm going to leave the record actions for now and simply go straight into the code. So if you click on New Script, it'll actually bring you here. And now you can see what I was talking about earlier with your function, your main, your workbook, Excel script.workbook, a bracket, and then all your code will be inputted between these two right here. So first of all, we're going to mention our sheet. All right, so the first thing we're going to mention in this function is the sheet that we're going to be working on. So since I only have one, I'm just going to say workbook.getActiveWorksheet. So this gets the worksheet that we're using at the moment, so which is sheet one. And now I'm going to see if we can start getting into the getters real quick. So as we talked about before, which I'll which I hope I can remind you guys that we have the most useful methods for manipulating cells, which are getters, setters, actions, and scalars as well. So first, I want to go through all the getters for you, and hopefully we can do it very quickly. I can go through all the setters, and then let's see if we can do something with both of them as well. So let's see if we can get started now. So the first getter I'm going to go through is get range. Uh, I don't think there's a way to pull both up now, but I'll just right here. So get range. So that's the first getter I'm going to start to go through now. So I'm going to say, let's say, uh, so we go to workbook, get range. I'm going to use this console.log. Now this console.log opens a window down here that shows us the results of whatever we put into it. So now I'm looking for my cell value for A2. And I'm trying to see if I'll get the value here. So they're saying there's a bit of an issue. So let's cell equal. Okay, I see the issue right there. So every time you always start with the object that you want to work with. So sheet is the object I created here, and now I want to work with this sheet to get my range, A2, and get my value. And then I'll use this console.log to show what my value is. So it should probably get it. So, right. I don't think I have my glasses on today, so let me put on get range. So that's the value there. So that's how we get the range. And now I'm simply going to do something easy and do another one called get formula. So this was my main focus, getting the range and showing you the value of it as well. So now I'm just going to go into get formula. Since most of it is fairly similar, I'm just going to change some things here and there. So same sheet, get value. Let's see, let me work with column B. This formula. And I'll change this formula as well. But let me just so I'm going to get the average of this 5 right here and also show it getting the formula right there. So if you want to get the formula of the cell, you can also use this. And you can also use this with set formula as well. So if you want to put a formula into a cell, you can do this as well. So let me just quickly move on to the next step. So we can go on to get backgrounds. So if you want to do some formatting, let me see now. We can move up to cell. This is sheet. I'm just going to keep this as I'm just going to use one column here just to make an example. I want to see if I can change the background color of this and maybe change the font color later, but we'll see. Well, actually, we're using get right now, so I'm just going to change it and then use get to get the color of it. So that will be then change that to B1. Okay, so now that we got our range, we now that we got our range, we now want to I'll now want to do some further manipulation in the on the next line. So let's just call this factory cell. Give me 1 second. All right, so it's giving us this this format here. I believe this is I believe I believe this is called a HTML color, and it's a code. So it's a color code for yellow. If I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So it's a color code for yellow. So if you also input this when you're using your setter as well, you could also change the background color to yellow. I'll find a way to look it up quick so we can have a choice of what colors to use later. And now we're going to, let's see if we can also change let's see if we can also get the font color of something as well. So I want to go through all these. Wanted to go through all these getters and setters first, and then see what we can build with it. And hopefully in the next session we can use Power Automate with it as well, and run some scripts with it. So let's see. Let's move into changing the font color. So I say we'll still be change the font color. Oh, sorry, to get the font color. Yeah. So again, it's giving us the code, but again, if you look it up, you can change, you can get your pick of colors, and you can really you can get your pick of colors. You can translate which colors they are if you just quickly look it up. So it's giving us this here, but I'm sure that that's the value for red as well. So next time, so on the next thing on our list, we'll try to get the border. So let's say if this cell has a border and I want to know what kind of border it is, I'm going to quickly just change my range and change it to 7. And let's see if I then pull a border cell and we go to cell. I still believe it's still the same get format. Then we go to get font, but we should change that get font now to get range border. Right. And then we can okay, there we go. So it gave us the range border. It said that it's an edge top, so which it is as well. So next we're going to go into our setters. Now, as you can see, with all the getters here, we used it to really like pull the value up from a cell. So we used it to get whatever information we wanted from the cell. And now this just 1 moment. Okay. All right. So in this order, you can see that there's an order to it as well. So once we get the object, we're then going to go into get format, And then from that get format, we're going to get the range border within said format and then get the side index. So what, how do I basically explain it? Okay. Well, I hope that you guys can see that there's an order within it anyways. There's steps within it. If you want to mess with the cell, you first get the format and then you go within that format that you get the range border and then so on and so forth. So that's it really. And once you get used to that, then you can create your code a lot faster. So we're going to move on to the next thing now, which is settles. I say we can still use most of this. So again, we're still working with the same workbook.getActiveSheet. We're still working, I'll probably just call this the text. So my first setter will be, I want to set the value of something. So let's say C1. So let's say here, or let me just keep it as so. Let's say here that we're still working with the same sheet. We're still working with the same cell, with a different cell this time. But now I'm going to use what we call a setter. So I'm just going to say cell text and simply just go. So with this cell, instead of getting anything, I'm going to start setting. So I'm going to say full stop set. Set the value to be, let's call it quantity. And since we're setting, we might not need this console.log anymore because we're seeing that happen. So quantity there. So we, instead of deriving what value this a certain cell is, we are now putting in the value there, so it shows quantity. So you can make this a lot more dynamic as well. There's a lot more complex code you can use, but I just want to go through the very basics, go through the getters, go through the setters, see if we can make something nice in the end if we have time. And then hopefully the next session we can improve on this further. So the next setter I'm going to go to is set formula. So let me see what I can do. If we can quickly. Actually, this. Yeah, so you can see with set formula, you can set a cell to be the value of a certain formula that you want. So if you want this cell to be equal C2, C6, you just put it into the bracket for set formula, and away you go. So next now, you can go into, so we're going to work with set values again, but instead we're going to use the plural form I was talking to you about earlier. So we're going to work with arrays. So we're going to get a collection and begin working with arrays to see, to see how it works. So let's get into it now. So sheet and cell, still the same, the cell we want to manipulate, except here we're going to make our cells just a little bit larger. Maybe I'll just call the cells this one. We're going to make it a little bit larger. So we're going to say from, let's run this back. We're going to say from A1 all the way through to actually, let me make a, let me just focus on the others. So from A1 all the way through to DE1 or C1. I'm just gonna input the names into all three of these cells. So go on here. We're gonna let the data, sorry, no, it's called there. Try this first. We want to down to the constant. So when we're setting values, we don't need to use set. So we're going to say cells. So from cells A1 to C1, dot set values. Oh, okay. Another thing as well. Remember when I told you about using this autocomplete being very useful because some of these texts are in cap letters here, and you can see me always tending to move back and forget. You can just go like that and just click enter. It saves time. And then we're going to say, so we're going to set the value of these cells to be equal to data here. We're just going to put it inside these cells, and we're going to run it now. So we got product, price, and quantity there. So this is an example of set values. Then we're going to go straight into set background. So I guess we'll still be using. I guess we'll still use this, and then we're going to say Let's see, so size. All right. Oh yeah, that was there before. Okay, so this FF000 was actually red. I'm pretty sure I used it for something earlier, so I remembered it. Then also as well, I forgot to mention this sign here. You can always think of it as a full stop. So anytime you describe a variable, always put this as a full stop afterwards. Or anytime you're doing some operation, always do it as a full stop. So once you describe this, like full stop, move on to the next sentence. And yeah, so we change the background color of these three right here into red. So we had to first use get express, so I put this let in front. So we use cells, we got our cells, our object comes first, we got the format, and then we move on to get fill. And then inside that get fill, we're gonna say inside fill, we're gonna set the color to red. And that's the way the code will understand. So we're going to move on to the next thing now, which is we're going to set the color of the font. So right now, I don't think we actually have to change much other than get font. And move this possible. And set color. So let's get font. Got cells. All right. So again, you always have to know your steps. You actually start with get format. I saw the red underneath, so I knew that something was array there. So we actually had to start with get format, then move on to get font, and then using get font, we set the color. And now it should be white, I think. Yeah, there we go. So it's not the prettiest, but it's just an example anyways, just so we can move on to the next. So now we're going to actually set border and set weight. So let's see if we're setting border and weight, we can work with C1. I'm just changing it back to cells, just because of a personal preference. It doesn't change anything. It's just a variable we're calling on here. So we're gonna say cell dot. I'm changing we're still inside get format, but we want to use get border range. So cell style, cell style. So I'm looking at the style of this border, this of the border I want to get now. So I'm gonna say cell style, set style, and go Excel, script, style, borderline style, style continuous. Also going to set the weight of this as well. Border weight. Right. A1. There we go. We're gonna go. Okay, so with this Excel script style borderline style, Excel script is a way of how do I how Excel script has a whole bunch of objects that it refers to here. So if you go online or go into a manual and just look at an Office script manual and just look at Excel scripts, it has a whole bunch of objects that you can reference using Excel scripts. So if you just use so as I was saying, what was this script, was it? If you just use so I was saying that Excel script, you can use it to reference a whole bunch of items and objects. So if you just use Excel script full stop, you can actually use it to reference the borderline style of whatever range you're getting, the border weight, and so much more as well. So, but we're only using it to reference this range border here. And now we're also going to go into setting we can also set font size as well, actually. So let's see if we can do that one quickly. And yeah, let's see if we can do that one very quickly. So, onto a little bit larger. So still similar to the last. If you got your cell is your first object to get format, get font, set size. And I might make it look a little bit more difficult than it seems, but every time you go into another order, you can really see all your options right there once you start typing. So you can see, okay, once from my get font, I can go into set color, set italic, set name, so on and so forth. So right now I just wanted to set the size and that was that. So next, I will set the color. Well, I think we did the color of the font as well. So I think that's just about everything. That's most of the popular getters and setters that you'll be using. And we also set formula here and here as well. I guess the only thing we didn't do might be a two-dimensional array. So let's see if we can run that real quick, or it will only take us possibly 5 minutes to do. I don't think it'll take us that long. Or let's say, feels like I might be cheating more, but let's just move this one to the side quick. I still do some product. Let's see. I'm just going to make this very quickly and just we're actually almost out of time, so just finish this off. Right on. So an array, since this is a two-dimensional array, I want to grab this this area here into a range. So I'm going to simply say that. So equal cells equal sheet get range A2 to A6. Now, I hope you remember what I said about set values as well. So we can simply say cells. So the difference between this and set value is simply the plural. So set values just has the S there, and we can input data like so. And hopefully if all goes right, it fills up. A second. This is all right, so let me see. One more. 5 minutes. Okay, any problem? I think I've gone over the time limit now, so just this last thing, and I'm done. Technology department. Base. One second. Oh, it should be working, but it's not. But I guess I'll leave it now. Maybe in the reality version I'll go over it. But it's everything seems to be working. Two-dimensional A2 to B6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe I got a little bit too excited with the arrays and I don't want too many. Let's see. Okay, there we go. All right, so that's done. Anyway, so I'm gonna leave it at that since I'm almost 10 minutes over time. Thanks for your time, everyone. I probably should have said so you can ask questions during this, but I think this was a great way just to run through everything. And if anyone has any questions at the end, we can answer it now. So thanks a lot. So I want to go into something maybe a little bit more complicated than this, but since the time is almost up, there's also going to be a part two where we're going to integrate this with Power Automate as well, and really delve into the possibilities of automation. Oh, I'm going to start off with something easy like a form, or maybe something to do with some emails, but we'll see. We'll see in the future. But this is definitely just a part one of this series. I hope I didn't bore you guys too much with all these setters and getters talk. And I hope it was okay. So I'm gonna stop sharing now. And yeah. So, does anyone have any questions? I know it was long, it was definitely long, and it was definitely long. It was definitely a long session. So if anyone has any questions or anything like that, you can ask it. Okay, so Cuban, actually, I won't lie to you. I'd say your best option is to go through the manual. I'm not even going to lie to you at all. With the manual, you know it's constantly updated, and with the manual for Office scripts, you know that everything is how do I describe it? Everything is right. So if you look up any like books or anything, it might just be, it might just how do I say it? It might be outdated, or it might have some code that might not work, even though this is new. So every time I always do any coding, I just open up the manual and learn it from there. So that's my opinion anyways. I'll send the link there later, maybe in the YouTube channel. I'll put the link into the description. So I mainly use that. I definitely looked at a few videos as well. So I'll probably link them too. But yeah, me personally, manual, look at what you want to do, what you want to build, and just build it as quickly as possible. That's the best way to do it for me. I hope that answers your question anyways. And we might be adding this to our already made Excel course too. So if you want to learn some more, you can go towards that as well. We should be updating it very soon anyways, hopefully by the end of the week or so. But no problem, Kevin. Thanks a lot for coming.